Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shema Shalom like Rashad. Gazes to say Yahweh, being named the Heavenly Father, who the world will call God, and Yahweh Shai, being named His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is Brother Kasadi from W5 Jersey, Philly, into the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Right, we tackling, a heavy demon that's placed over Israel right now. A lot of brothers and sisters, whether they want to admit it or not, you may be dealing with a heavy heart, maybe dealing with sorrow and deep depression. And through the spirit, we want to tackle the spirit and continue to, exhort you to the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, that Most High, definitely can take that spirit away from you. Chiefly, that demon that's trying to overthrow you and bring you down low. Right, so let's kick it off. Let's go to the book of Sarak. And again, like I mentioned, a lot of Israel may be going through this, but you got to continue to trust in Yahweh Shem Shai during this time. Right, you don't want to lean into your own mind, your own thoughts. Right, those thoughts of your heart, it can cause you to really be broken down. Right, ultimately, think about destroying yourself. Right, whether you and I don't want to give no ideas, right? So I'll just leave it there. But just know that you can't escape the judgment of the Most High, right? So that wouldn't be wise to ever think about or consider taking your life in your own hands. If it ever got to that point, you should always continue to call on the Lord and pray and fast these spirits off. So Lord willing, with this video, this helps for anyone that may be dealing with that. Again, dealing with that depression, dealing with a heavy heart. You might have lost a loved one. You might not be at a particular place where you want to be at in life. You might have felt like you're never going to make it. Whatever it is that's in your mind and your thoughts, you need to cast it away and truly seek the Most High. Right? So this is the book of Sarak, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38 and verse 18. It says, "For of heaviness cometh death." Right? Because again, you having that mind or being in that mindset, ultimately can bring about death. Right? Too much sorrow can ultimately bring about destroying yourself. Right? And again, I have to speak in a certain manner because that's a wicked off thing to do. Right? You should never ever think that's the end all be all. That's the outcome. That's an option that's on the table. The option should never be on the table. Right? Yahweh Shai didn't die for you to do that to yourself. Right? So you got to remember that and keep that in the back of your mind, that there's a greater purpose for you, and ultimately it's to serve Yahweh Shem Shai. Now, with that being said, being in this flesh and being in this body, there's different things that come about, like heaviness, depression, dark thoughts, feeling sorrow, feeling anxious. These different spirits, they linger because of this flesh that you're in. And this flesh is programmed to be in a mind that's against the Most High, if you have ears to hear. Now, being in the spirit, I know I mentioned it maybe 1,000 times so far, but being in the spirit of the Lord, that's, obviously programmed to go against the flesh. So you have the flesh against the spirit, you have the spirit against the flesh. It says, "For of heaviness cometh death, and the heaviness of the heart breaketh strength." That's why a lot of times when you're in that heavy mind and you feel like you have no hope, you feel extremely weak, feel like you can't continue on, feel like all hope again is all lost for you. And you got to break out of that. And I'll show you how. It says, well, really the Lord is going to show you how. Verse 19, "In affliction also sorrow remaineth." So a lot of times you might be in affliction, might be catching hell, might have lost your job, your woman might have left you. All hell might be breaking loose in your life. And the Lord said, in affliction, sorrow remaineth. Right? You might turn to that bottle, start drinking more and more. You might, God forbid, go back in the world. These different things come about with being in affliction. And again, we're afflicted being in these bodies. It says, "And the life of the poor is the curse of the heart." So being in this life that we live, understanding that we don't really have great financial means. I'm not gonna say you broke, right? That's the term that they would, it's really putting a spirit over you saying that you broke. No, brother, you're not broke. You just financially limited. You gotta keep your head up. At the end of the day, America's broke, right? If you're thinking on a monetary level, America's $36 trillion in debt. They owe Japan, they owe China, they owe the Federal Reserve, they owe these different Rothschilds and these elites. So don't think about it like that in that way, thinking that you're broken, you have nothing, you have no hope. That's the spirit that they want you to be in. They want you to stay in that slave-like mentality. But remember, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. It says, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart. This is what the Lord said, verse 20. Take no heaviness to heart. So yeah, you know there's a time for it. And really in the context, you weeping, you lamenting over someone that's lost, a loved one, a family member, a friend, right? But you have to comfort yourself in that heaviness. And it actually tells you that in the latter part of verse 17. So reading on, verse 20, because it might not always be that you lost someone for you to be in this affliction, right? That's why it's precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So you can still apply this to your life, right? So verse 20, take no heaviness to heart, drive it away. So how do you get rid of heaviness? How do you get rid of depression? You have to drive it away. Do things in righteousness that's going to cheer you up, right? Call on the Lord, right? Reading these precepts. Listen to a video like this is going to exhort you in that moment. Save this to your playlist. Take down these precepts, right? And continue to call them to mind. The Lord said, drive it away and remember the last end. What is the last end? The last end is that if you continue in the spirit, again, heaviness cometh death. If you continue in the spirit, then you might lose out in the kingdom, right? Spiritual body where you'll never have this stress or anxiety or depression ever again. You have to drive it away from you. It says, forget it not, and for there is no turning again. Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself. You're not going to do good to yourself, right? If you continue in the spirit, if you forget this thing, the Lord said you're only going to hurt yourself. You don't want to move in that spirit, right? You want to cast away this demon. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 15. It's Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 25. It says, heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop. Right, for something to stoop meaning to fall down, to hang down low. The Lord said when a man has heaviness in his heart, he's stooping, or his heart is stooping down. It says, but what? But a good word maketh it glad. So you want to surround yourself by a good word, something uplifting. Don't listen to some evil spirits, some songs that's moving in that mindset. I remember, in the world, I never listened to this man, but you had XXX Tekashi Young. That's the music he was getting down with. Juice WRLD, these different artists, and you see what happened to them, man. But these different artists, they kind of promoted that depression, that sorrow. It were constantly driven forth by those spirits and compelling them to push that in the music, to put it on you. So it wouldn't be wise to listen to something that's not of a good, glad heart, or to make you to have a good and glad heart. You want to exhort, you want to be around exhortation, something to compel you to get up out of that, something to uplift you, right? Music, it can do that if it's used righteously, right? But if you listen to wicked music that's going to put you in that spirit and that mind to cast yourself down, then guess what? You'll be cast down, right? So you want to move with, the Lord said, heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. Let's get another precept. Let's go back to Sarak, chapter 30. Let's go to 30 and 21. Sarak 30 and 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. So you don't want to give yourself over to heaviness. How does that happen? Well, some might not have went the way you wanted it to, and it might be second nature for you just to, um, give yourself over to having a poor mindset towards it, right? The Lord not dealing with me. Maybe something happened in your household, and you're a woman that's watching this video. You may be thinking that your husband, he doesn't love you. You're just quick to think negatively. You don't want to give yourself over to that, because it might be a week from now, two weeks from now, a month from now, then that spirit tries to pop back up. Don't give yourself over to that spirit. Heaviness is a demon. Depression is a demon. Let's not listen to Esau and give them certain, names and things of that nature, and they give you pills to cope. They telling you to woosah and all. No, that's not it. Honestly, the only way you're really going to overcome it is by this good word, these precepts, this exhortation. That's the only way you're going to overcome it, is through the Lord. So it says again, give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. What's that counsel is talking about? Your mind. You constantly going over your thoughts. Oh, I knew I was wicked. Oh, the Lord not dealing with me. Oh, he's never going to allow me to repent. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, this is going to happen. And ultimately you're going to crash out. You're literally going to crash out and burn and be destroyed. Why? Because you gave yourself over to that. And the Most High, he's trying your thoughts and trying your mind. The Most High knows all your thoughts and everything you do. It's all been recorded. He wants to see what you're going to do in that moment. Are you going to turn back to him, or are you going to stay in that spirit? Verse 22, the gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. So if you're moving in that joyous spirit, which is one of the fruits of the spirit, then guess what? The Lord said you'll prolong your days. Someone that's in peace and serenity with the spirit of the Most High, that person is going to live long in this earth. But someone who's moving with a down heart and a down mind, he might drink himself to death, right? Literally, right? You can drink too much and have your kidneys can fail. You can have heart failure, different things of that nature. You might turn back to smoking weed. Now you're smoking and your lungs collapse. You might drink too much and you get in a car and you driving and you in a heavy mind and you swerve. It's damn raining. The car gives out on you. The tires give out. You swerve. You hit a tree. You split your head, and now you're dead and you're in the third heavens. God forbid that happens, but these are things that could happen, right? Because you're not in that joyous, glad heart, but you gave yourself over to heaviness. It says, love thine own soul. You have to love yourself. Not to be proud and boastful, but you have to love the life that the Lord has given you. You got to cherish these different moments, or these little bit of moments we have left, knowing the time that you're living in. Right? It's always a time to change and be new, which is mighty through the Spirit of the Lord. The Lord has given us each and every day to be able to repent. Right? Until the Lord takes that away from you, love your soul and comfort, right, your heart. It says, and comfort thy heart, remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow had killed many, and there is no profit therein. So you got to keep this in your mind, in the forefront, in the subconscious, all around. If you're dealing with a spirit like this, know that, first off, this isn't a light spirit. There's a reason why it's known as heaviness. For something to be heavy, obviously, it's the opposite of light. Right? It's weighing you down. It's pressing you down. Right? The scriptures speak of this. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, and verse 13. It says, for what man is he that can know the counsel of God? Or who can think what the will of the Lord is. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain. Right, so I'm going to continue on, but you got to understand that the thoughts of man is miserable by nature. Why? Because we're in this flesh. And the devices that we craft in our own mind are uncertain. Some days you're feeling good, some days you're feeling down. Some days you're feeling down, some days you're feeling good. It's just the thoughts that comes about with being in this flesh. Verse 15, for the corruptible body presseth down the soul. So this body that you in, it can press down your soul. For something to press down on something else, it must be more heavier or heavier than the opposing thing that is going against. And the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things. So again, these bodies, these corrupt, wicked, filthy bodies, it can press down your mind and make you not want to even listen to counsel. It can press down your mind and make you think that all hope is lost, when it's not. It's just you're in your mind. You might have heard that before. Someone might have told you, or whether you're in the world, or was in the world, I should say, this is saying, hey, you're in your mind. Get out your mind. Why is someone saying that? Because again, your mind is pressing down your soul and trying to ultimately overthrow your spirit, right? And bring you real low. So again, you can't continue to let those thoughts weigh in your heart, because ultimately it's going to overthrow you. This is how you want to move. Philippians 4:7, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Hamashiach Yahushua. So the Lord said the peace of God, which passeth all understanding. Right? It's going to pass the understanding that's in your mind. Right? The Lord said there's a way that seemeth right unto the man, but the end thereof is the ways of death. Paraphrasing. It's a way that might seem right to you, but the path thereof is going to ultimately lead you to death. Don't let those thoughts in your mind overthrow what the Lord is saying. You want to walk with the Lord and walk against this flesh. Verse 8, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. You want to have a good report in your mind. Listen to that good news, right? Jot them down, right? Do what you have to do to continue to dwell amongst it until that spirit is ultimately gone from you. It may be that you have to fast 1 time a week. It may be that you might have to fast 2 times a week. And you may have to fast if the spirit is real heavy, a few months. Hold on. Let me rephrase that. Not that you're going to fast consecutively a few months, but this spirit might not go for a few months. So therefore, you might have to fast, every, weekly on this particular demon until it's gone after a few months. Read on. If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. So you want to think on the things that's right. You don't want to think on the things that's going to bring you to a heavy mind, to cast you down, to overthrow you, to keep you in that down state. You want to move with the Spirit of the Lord, knowing that the Most High, He ultimately is thinking about, things of righteousness and things of peace for you. You want to rejoice in the Lord. You don't want to have care of things of this world, because this world is only going to bring about that heaviness, that depression. There's nothing here for you. But with the Lord, there's a whole kingdom prepared for you. So most High willing, you continue to lock in. And Lord willing, I'll make a part 2 to this video as well. Just to go over a few other things that could be beneficial and helpful. But again, most High willing was edified. We want to give all honor and all glory to Yahweh. By Hashem Mashakum Laki Bashai. Kwame Shirala. Shalom.